Welcome to the channel. My name's Bryce. I share what helped me go from a bottom 40% rep up to a top 5% rep out of 120 plus people in less than 6 months. I had been working hard on the skills. I had the skills. I had had good performing months, but I'd never really done it consistently at the level that I felt capable of. And then once I went all in on what I'm gonna share with you guys today and what I talk about on my channel, my PR of the previous year became my new normal. So that's what I'm gonna share. If that resonates, subscribe, like the video, stick around for more content like this, but we'll get into it. So today we're gonna talk about the 5 things that I see killing the motivation of most reps, especially new guys, especially people that are trying to get better. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. So getting right into it. Number 1 is unreal expectations. New guys, especially sales guys, we wanna come in and set the whole company on fire, and we wanna be the standout top performer the first month we're there. And have we seen it? Sure. Is it common? No. So the first thing you can do is talk to your director, your manager, your boss, whatever title they made up for them, and ask them what would make me stand out over the next 90 days. You can look at the top guys' numbers and be inspired, but don't compare yourself because you haven't been doing this for 4 years yet. I saw time and time again, so many of these guys would come to me saying, Bryce, I'm burned out, I hate this, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then I would look at their numbers and I would sit down with them and start working with them, and it's like, dude, you had 3 sets this week. That's freaking awesome. Most of the other new guys haven't done anything. And all of a sudden it's like, I didn't realize I was actually doing good. And that's the big thing. Most of us don't realize that you're actually doing a lot better than you think you are. So again, just setting those expectations and having external kind of bumpers set up, because you don't know what you don't know. And most of us are so competitive that we default to we suck. Number 2, and this was a big one for me that I realized, was what I call misplaced motivators. What I mean by that is you have something that drives you to be better, to do better. What sometimes can happen is the motivation that you are using to get to top performance does not have the gas to get you to where you want to go. And that's what I found. For me, I realized that I really used the motivation of being the new guy with the chip on his shoulder to kind of have something to prove. I realized that that was a big motivation for me, which is why when I stuck around at a company for a long time and I stopped getting the wow, you're really outperforming what we're used to, you're doing really good, I would start sabotaging myself to bring myself back down. Identifying what your motivators are and if they're in line with what you want will be really helpful. Number 3 is being so results based that you forget the process. And this is why, again, I always harp on setting process related goals, because if you implement a $40,000 process, you will get $40,000 a month out of it. Now, you might have to do the $40,000 a month process for a year, right? Until you are able to bring the skills and maybe level up some other things, and maybe some pieces have to fall into place. When you can just say, you know what, the result is what the result's gonna be, I'm gonna stick to my process. Your ups and downs, you'll have the natural ebb and flow. We all wanna try to mitigate it and minimize it as much as we can, but it will have ups and downs. That's just how nature goes. But when you stick to that process, you take what might be a massive high and a massive low, you can kind of shrink those a little bit for yourself. Number 4 is a big one that I dealt with a lot, and we all do, is resistance. And what I mean by resistance is specifically limiting beliefs where you are fighting yourself. There's nothing more frustrating in sales especially than hearing people around you on the phone and you're like, I sound about that good, maybe even better on the phone than that guy. Why am I not closing deals? And you start to realize that it is you holding yourself back. And that can come from, again, limiting beliefs where you might have a belief about money, about influence, about sales in general. One that's a big one that I've coached a lot of people on is they feel like the more that they are able to close and their close rate goes higher, there can be a belief that you are just getting better at manipulating people, right? So there are things like that where if that's a belief that you have, of course you're gonna slow yourself down. Of course you're gonna make things harder on yourself because you are going against one of the core values that you hold. right? So once you can identify what it is that's going on, then look at it and say, you know what, do I really believe that? What would I rather believe? Okay, how do you need to change your actions? How do you need to change your perspective of it? Or change your job? That's fine too, right? There's infinite ways to make money. You can definitely go do something else that feels more in alignment with you. And that takes me to my last point. Number 5 is having an unclear dream. There are so many times that we just lose sight of what it is that we actually want. And not only lose sight of what we want, but we also lose sight of how we're getting there. Because the process and the steps that we're taking may not always look like it's like if you're going to go on a hike, you don't just walk in a dead straight line to where you want to go, right? You follow the valleys, the ridges, you kind of bob and weave to get there, but you always know where you're going, so you don't really worry about what that one step goes west when you're supposed to be going mostly northeast, right? So when you have a clear goal of what you're trying to accomplish, of the dream that you're there for at that company, how the tasks that you're doing day to day fit into that dream, that will give you so much more motivation when things are slow, when things are kind of mundane and there are things you don't want to do. So I hope these resonate with you. These are all things that helped me make a lot more money in my career. I went from a mid performer to top 5%, and I really hope this will do the same for you. So like this, comment, stick around for more videos, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks.